Girls that gave the nice guy a chance. How did it go? My boyfriend wants me to get a prenup because he doesn't want me to steal all his money if we get divorced. For context, my dad is one of the most elite businessmen in the city, but he refused to give me any money to support myself. That meant that even though I was technically a Nepo baby, I didn't get any of daddy's money because my father built his business from scratch through hard work and wanted me to do the same. So, I spent all my life working hard, and by the time I was 28 I had 2 businesses that I could be proud of, just like my father. 2 years later, I could retire at 30 and would be set for life. I was financially stable and used my money to start soup kitchens and fund shelters for the homeless. I was proud of the things that my money could achieve, and I would talk to my boyfriend about it, and honestly my parents would talk about it to anyone who listened as well. I never thought anything of it, until my boyfriend, who had been supporting me ever since I started my first business, blew up in my face about it, unprovoked. He told me that he was tired of me rubbing my money in his face, and said he was going to be a huge businessman just like me, but he was going to make sure he was even more wealthy. I honestly had no idea how he was going to make that happen, since he refused to work more than 25 hours a week, spent his money on brand names and subscriptions, and didn't have a dime in savings or investments. I reminded him of this, but he just said that it didn't matter how much money he spent now because he knew he was going to be a billionaire soon. He said he was so sure of it and didn't want to lose all the money he was going to make if we were to divorce in the future, so he wanted a prenup. I told him that he hadn't even proposed to me, so I didn't understand why we would be talking about a prenup. He then had the audacity to say that he's only going to propose when he gets rich. So, basically I was never going to get that rock. I told him that he was delusional if he thought I was after his money when I make more money than him. He immediately shushed me up and said he needed the prenup because I would become a gold digger the minute he makes some cash. I told him that we should continue this conversation when he gets his bank account out of the negatives. Every time he saw me after that, he'd ask if I was running to daddy for money again, and he'd call me a gold digger. At first, I thought I should have been more humble, especially since I knew that if he just worked as hard as me and my dad, he could definitely get to where we are now. But after his nasty comments and delusional dreams, I just wanted some answers. So, I told him we had to talk. I asked him about the prenup first, and he said that it was my dad's idea, not his. He explained that he and my dad were talking about him working at his company, and my boyfriend believed his future looked bright because he was dating his boss's daughter. So, to prevent things from getting ugly later on, they decided to come up with a prenup to make sure our assets were protected. I asked him why he didn't just tell me that in the first place, and what he admitted to me broke me. He said that he felt less of a man while dating me. He told me that a man is the one that's supposed to provide and have all the money, and have a successful business, but the fact that I was the one with all that and not him disgusted him. He went on to tell me that I'm a spoiled brat who runs to daddy whenever I need something. I told him that I thought we had a good relationship, and asked him why he would say that to me. He responded that he was so sick of hearing me brag about all my money when I knew he didn't have as much as me. He said I should have been more considerate of that, but instead I was a selfish girlfriend who only had daddy's money. I reminded him that he was with me when I was just starting my first business, and that my dad basically refused to loan me a penny because he wanted me to do this on my own. He said that there was no way my dad would do that, and believed my dad secretly funded my businesses. I told him that I made good investments, studied and worked hard, and I wasn't going to let him undermine my accomplishments just because he was jealous. When he said that my success was meaningless because my dad helped, I told him that since he thinks that way, then he shouldn't be taking my dad's help either. When he said that he was going to use my dad just like me, I couldn't handle things anymore and left my house. Everything he said broke me, and I felt so betrayed that someone that close to me, and someone I loved so much, would say such mean things to me. I drove to my parents' house and sobbed as I told them everything. My dad was furious, and my mom had to stop him from going to my house to beat up my boyfriend. My dad also apologized for suggesting the prenup, and didn't know my boyfriend would say all those things. I accepted his apology, but that wasn't enough for him. He said that my boyfriend getting hired at his company was supposed to be a huge opportunity for him, but since he started acting this way, he's not going to hire him anymore. I won't lie, a part of me was happy he said that. My boyfriend believed that this job was his one-way ticket to success, so taking it away from him is exactly what had to happen. My dad called him up the next day, saying that he wanted to talk to him about his future within the company. My boyfriend was all smug as he entered the office, and I had no idea why he thought my dad would choose his side in this mess and still hire him. However, it was worth it because it was hilarious seeing his jaw hit the ground when he saw me in my dad's office. The next couple of minutes were terrible for my boyfriend. My dad yelled at him nonstop, saying that he had no right to speak to me that way, that I was more successful than he would ever be, and he would never get a job in his company. He had half a mind to blacklist him entirely. I swear my boyfriend peed his pants a little. Once my dad finished ripping him a new one, I told him that I was breaking up with him and he had 48 hours to move his junk out, otherwise I was going to burn everything. He literally ran out of the office so fast because he knew the first thing I'd burn would be the PC I bought him. When everything died down, I realized how sad the whole situation really was. He was my first love and this was how he treated me, and all because I had more money than him. But I think I dodged a bullet because I was clearly a nobody to him, and nothing I did held any value. It's painful to accept that the person I loved couldn't see my worth and insulted me like that. This was my first ever heartbreak, but with time I'll learn to move on. From now on, I'm just going to focus on my business and keep building a life that I can be proud of. Update: everyone was asking me how I had 2 successful businesses in a short amount of time. For my first business, I took out a loan, which was a mistake because I nearly got myself into some serious debt. So, for my second business I decided to learn to invest using an app called Bloom Learn to invest to earn the money I needed to start it up instead. It only took a year, and it was really easy to invest. especially because I could make $25 just from referring someone. I actually sent a referral link to my boyfriend, but he never wanted to use Bloom. So I hope you guys don't make the same mistake as him because look where it got him. He's now the Dollar Tree Employee of the Month.